Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I'm going to be your host, Blackenfist, and I guess this is the obligatory, the inevitable 2015 review, or a year of reflection. Time for me to look back upon how the year has been, and really the big accomplishments, and really how crazy it's been for this year, especially for Dragon Ball. Um, 2015, and I'm not the only one saying this, but it has to be one of the biggest years for the Dragon Ball franchise ever. Uh, and it's something that I'm not saying. It's something that and it's quite funny too because I remember the first person to ever have brung it up. I remember this vividly. In 2014, well, not really 2014. It was the beginning of 2015. It was like in January, I believe. Dragon Ball Nation, Josh, he was the first one to make a video of will 2015 be the biggest year in Dragon Ball? This is before any movies, before any Super was announced or anything like that. And I kind of like, that's a pretty bold statement. I wasn't too sure about that, honestly. But it arguably has been that kind of year to this year. And of course, me and Quaman did a whole video back in, I think, March about whether we are in the Dragon Ball Renaissance, living in the Dragon Ball Renaissance, considering Battle of Gods and Dragon Ball Xenoverse that was out at the time, and Resurrection F that was about to come out. Super wasn't announced at the time too, which is very funny too, because at the time me and Quaman thought of this whole Dragon Ball Renaissance thing and made that video. Super was not announced at the time, which caused a lot of people to speculate on whether we actually had inside information, whether we were getting tipped off by Toei Animation or Akira Toriyama, which I find humorous. I wish we did. But you know what, guys? Eventually, I will have my connects to Toei Animation. You just wait. It might take a couple years, but I'll have Toriyama's phone number. Anyway, and this, in all seriousness, the Dragon Ball Renaissance is a very apt description of what's going on in Dragon Ball right now, especially with Dragon Ball Super, and with things rolling in Dragon Ball. I have not seen the Dragon Ball this invigorated in years. Throughout the mid 2000s, especially in the U.S. after Dragon Ball Z was done airing on American television, there was quite a it was very down low, especially in the years of 2006, 5, and 7, even 8. Those years, it was very dormant, Dragon Ball. Like, the only things that were happening were the video games. You could say Kai kind of brought something back, along with the maybe 2008 OVA special, Yo Son Goku and His Friends Return, but those were very minor things. And then, of course, everything changed when Battle of Gods came out. That was an enormous deal in 2012 when that was first announced. That was a huge, huge, huge deal. Now, it wasn't as big of a deal when Resurrection F was announced because Battle of Gods already had preceded it. And Battle of Gods, of course, was a successful movie. But what came afterwards, with Xenoverse becoming the success that it was, I think it was the most successful video game since Burst Limit, I believe. And then with Dragon Ball Super, which honestly, that rivals the Dragon Ball Super announcement. Whatever you think about Dragon Ball Super, it rivals what happened in 2012 when Battle of Gods first came out. So those things culminating, if you think about it, we got new manga, we got new movies, we got a new video game, and a new anime series within the same year. That, I don't think there's ever been a concentration of Dragon Ball material to come out in 1 year ever. So in terms of just sheer content, I don't know if any other year tops this year in terms of new things being announced for Dragon Ball. It certainly has been a good time. And Dragon Ball Renaissance is a good thing to describe what is happening here, because I do believe that if things continue to go the way they are, if the Universe 6 arc of Dragon Ball Super becomes a big hit, the chances of us seeing another movie are very likely, None, of course, nothing is guaranteed, but the way things are rolling here, I mean, another movie might be likely, another season of Dragon Ball Super might be likely as well. So the Dragon Ball Renaissance is really in full swing here. It's we're it's really the enlightenment of Dragon Ball, you could say. And but in the YouTube space, what this has done is really I have gotten to meet so many more people. I think I've never really told the story of how I met Quaman, or if I have, I told it in like very little detail. But for me, for a long time, as far I can remember, it was just me and Quaman, me and Quinn. And then we met Austin, Thundershot, and Dino, Rhyme Style. And then later on, it was just for like us four. And that's kind of how I knew everybody. Those are the people I knew. But this year, man, did I meet a lot of new people. Geekdom, Josh from Dragon Ball Nation, Mike Laugh from Laughing Stock Media, Super J. And those guys have been incredibly valuable. Geekdom, Danny has been a very valuable person in my book, because he's just an extremely knowledgeable fan. He's probably the most knowledgeable fan that I've ever gotten the privilege to speak to. Quinn was, I'm not taking, I think Quinn can understand when I say this. Quinn was previously the most knowledgeable fan that I've ever spoken to before I met pretty much since before I met Danny. Danny definitely is a very knowledgeable guy. Also with Jay. Jay is an extremely knowledgeable guy as well. And on top of all of that, I also got to do some more things with Mr. Fusion. Mr. Fusion, I had been admiring his videos ever since he first started putting out his Dragon Ball dissections. He does great content. Sometimes I feel ashamed of my work. I feel like my videos aren't up to snuff. I really do feel I'll be honest, guys. I'll be very honest. Sometimes when I watch a Mr. Fusion video, I feel inadequate, and I feel as if I'm not up to snuff. And, in terms of YouTube, how it's been personally for me on YouTube since 14 to 15, things have improved. I think I've gotten my mic quality has gotten better. My camera quality has gotten better. I think I've gotten a little better with videos, but quite honestly, I don't think I've improved as much as I think I could have in 2015. I'm not complaining. I have an audience and everything, but I honestly feel that I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think I gave it my all. I don't think I gave it my 100% what I could have given my full potential to this YouTube thing. And I think that you guys know that with the uploads and everything. And my upload frequency has been laughed at and discussed, and some people make jokes about it. But I'll be honest, guys. I will say this: I have kept a minimum of one video a week, and I have kind of realized that I don't think that one video a week is enough. I think I need at least 2 or 3 videos a week, at least on my channel. I think that's the sweet spot, the 2 or 3 videos a week. That's what I need to hit. And honestly, I don't think I've been hitting the mark on that quite well. I think I went like a month and a half doing exactly that, maybe 2 or 3 videos a week, but then I dropped the ball. Then I kept going down to 1 video a week. But excuse me, in terms of upload frequency, even though people might make fun of me, it is an improvement since 2014. Since in 2014 I would go 2 weeks without uploading. I don't think in this year I've gone 2 straight weeks without uploading. I've at least gotten to a minimum, at least right now, to a 1 video a week at the very minimum, bare minimum, guys. So that has been an improvement. But the expansion of the YouTube space has been extremely interesting. I mean, man, it really culminates with, I remember, okay, well, I guess I could start from the beginning of the year. I mean, the first new person you could say that was introduced to us was Josh from Dragon Ball Nation, who's an awesome guy. I love his content. I've been, he's just a good guy to make videos with, and just a cool, awesome guy to talk to as well. He was one of the first people that me and Quinn pretty much started working with back in, when we met him. But I think the more interesting story is how we met Geekdom or Danny. And I don't think Geekdom or Quinn has really told the full story of that, or at least to the detail that I know, because I was really the catalyst for Danny being introduced to Quinn and Dino and everything. And I don't know how Danny will say that, but I'll take credit for that. If Danny, if it wasn't for me, I don't think you would have met Quinn as quickly, or even Dino as anyone else. As quickly, because it was almost really, honestly, it was an accident. How I met Danny, because the way I met him, well, actually, I have to start a little further back. Danny was an extremely active person in my comment section. So, guys, if you're honestly, if you're one of those people that comment in almost every single one of my videos or close to it, I'm going to notice you. I know that I might not respond to everything, but I do look at my comment section every time a newer video is uploaded. And if you comment frequently, I will notice you, and I did notice Danny. Now, I just didn't view Danny. Honestly, I never even knew Danny did videos or he did anything like that. But what happened was that Danny sent me a Skype request, a friend request, like months ago, but even before I started talking to him. And what happened was, remember a couple months back, I did a whole "Is Goku a bad father or not?" And I had a discussion with my subscribers, that Skype call where I was discussing that. And I was trying to recruit people for in that conversation, just random subscribers of mine. Anyone who really wanted to join the conversation could have joined. And what happened was, when I announced this, I forgot where I announced this at. I could have announced it on my YouTube, or I could have announced it on Twitter or something. I was trying to invite people in, and there wasn't many people responding. There wasn't many people coming in the first day. This was like the very first day I announced it, and I wasn't getting a lot of feedback or anything, so I couldn't get very few people. So I just went through my contacts or the people that requested friend requests and started to invite them into the call so I can take part in this video debate. And it just so happened, I wasn't getting very lucky. I think at the time I got Quinn into a call and said, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this video today because not a lot of people are coming into this debate. I need a couple people to do this video, but not enough people are coming in. So I'm like, maybe I'm going to do this tomorrow, right? I'm going to postpone this video till tomorrow, so that way maybe it'll get a greater response tomorrow. And it did. Tomorrow I got a lot more people into the call, and then that's when I recorded that video that is in my channel now. But what happened was, just by chance, Danny had sent me a Skype friend request months ago, and I happened to see that contact, and I invited him into the call for this video debate. At the very beginning, I didn't even know that the Danny that I was speaking to was Geekdom 101, the one who was active in my comment section. And I do remember we got into a long conversation, and I remember when Danny said, "I'm Geekdom 101," and I'm like, whoa, really? Like, okay, now I know you. Now I know who you are. I didn't even know who you were. Who I was talking to. I just thought that you were just a random sub of mine, really. I thought that's what Danny was at the beginning. And honestly, it just went from there. From the very first conversation, I could tell that Danny had an exceptional knowledge of Dragon Ball, and that it's definitely not common. The stuff that Danny knew was definitely above and beyond. And from the very first conversation, I immediately wanted to collaborate with him. I wanted him to be part of everything. And once I saw his videos, a couple of them, I knew that this guy had some good talent. Danny then introduced me to Mike from Laughingstock Media and Super Jaiyan, and from then on, the rest is history. From then on, Hell Zeon was introduced and all. The interesting thing about Hell Zeon is that I actually viewed a couple of Hell Zeon's videos from years ago. This is way back, way back. But the interesting thing is that Danny got in touch with him, and now I get to talk to him as well. But the YouTube space has definitely changed since I began in the early days of me and Quinn, when it was just us two. With all these new faces, I feel like it's just almost a different place now. Like the term DBZ YouTuber has now been created. I mean, Dino has done a phenomenal job this year. He's done an exceptional growth this year as well. It's really been pretty interesting how everything has gone down this year. I never would have imagined that the YouTube space for Dragon Ball would have become this crowded, you could say. I don't know. I would like to think that me, Quinn, and Danny and Dino, we all have a credit to that. I guess we have to take some credit for, I guess, popularizing the idea of doing videos on Dragon Ball. I know that I had the ideas of doing videos on Dragon Ball since 2012. I was already a huge Dragon Ball fan, and so doing videos on Dragon Ball was just a natural thing for me to do. So I was going to end up doing Dragon Ball videos eventually anyway. So and then that led me to meeting Quinn, which is honestly another story. But in terms of the future and what I hope to bring in 2016, honestly, a more genuine effort. I feel like the effort that I put in 15, it wasn't terrible, and I did improve in certain points. I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but I did improve, but I honestly feel that I'm not hitting my full potential. I'm kind of holding myself back in my respects, and it's my fault. It's all my fault. And I feel that I could do better. And 16, that's what I'm planning to do. Also, another huge thing I hope to do in the future, and what I'm planning to do, is expand beyond Dragon Ball. I know Quinn is going to try to do this. Mike has been doing this from the outset, but something that I want to do is expand more into video games. And I have like 2 concepts for 2 new shows that I'm going to do on video games. I'm going to reveal one here, which is pretty much No Nostalgia Reviews. I think that's the working title. It could be different when it finally comes out, but No Nostalgia Reviews is going to be it's going to be me reviewing games, older games, that I have never played, that maybe are people say, oh, that's one of the best games of all time. Oh, I really like that game from my childhood. But the gimmick is I've never played these games in my childhood, so I'm not biased in that way, and I don't have any nostalgia. So I could come from it from a more objective, point of view. And one of the games, I feel like the 2 biggest candidates for like this series to begin is for me the biggest ones are Final Fantasy VII and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, because I feel like those do have a lot of nostalgia, a lot of people saying like they harken back to those games, and I've never played those games ever to this day. I've never played them. I do plan to play both of them, and I feel like if I'm going to play these games, why not review them? And I just felt, well, it's a very interesting perspective I have, since I've never played these games that people say are some of the best games of all time, and I maybe could bring a unique perspective to all that. So that's going to be one of the new series. Probably I hope to bring out the first episode sometime in 2016. Obviously my YouTube thing has grown immensely. I started off, I think, this year with 22,000 subs. I've met 63,000. So that's a growth by several times, but I believe I can do better, like I said before. And I am going to do better. And one thing that I did say in 2014 is to increase my editing, and I feel that my editing has gotten better, but only slightly. There are things that, honestly, it's tough, man. I might have to get back to the drawing board. I mean, I do have my access to Premiere Pro now, and that program. See, the thing is, I'm using Sony Vegas, and I'm debating. The thing with Premiere Pro is it's such a different interface. It's not as intuitive as Sony Vegas. With Sony Vegas, I could start like editing immediately with little problems, because it's the interface, the user, it's so easy to use, it's so easy to pick up, and it is fairly deep. But with Premiere Pro, there's so many windows, there's so many sub windows, and I feel like I need to actually just sit down and learn that program before I actually start seriously using it in videos, or else I'm going to get completely lost and just maybe mess up if I'm actually doing a real video. But editing, another thing that needs to improve, constantly improving. Eventually, I do want to say I do look up to like guys like MatPat at the Game Theorist, and that's the kind of editing that eventually I want to have. That's the kind of quality that I want to have. You could say that that's my inspiration. But anyway, guys, that's really all I have to say. I honestly don't know how Quinn does it, man. He can make one of these videos just off the cuff. This is all off the cuff, and I honestly don't know how it's been, how he does it, because I've been talking for like 20 minutes, and I think I've gotten almost everything off my chest. So I don't know. That has been 2015 for me. It's been quite a year. It was one of those years where the biggest thing I could say is the whole YouTube landscape changed, and I've met so many new people doing this YouTube thing that I wouldn't have met before otherwise, and of course in constant improvement and everything. And I guess before I repeat myself too much, anyway, guys, I hope 2016 it's going to be a better year, bigger year, more effort. And of course, guys, and I guess until Dragon Ball calls again, I'm Blackenfist, and I'm out, man.